When it comes to these games, I typically try to talk about the games themselves. You know, things like the gameplay, the story, mechanics in the games, that kind of stuff. I try to stay away from the community side of things. If you notice, it's not really something I bring up that often. The community has enough representatives representing it, and I don't need to be another one of those voices. There's plenty of that out there already. And when it comes to things like content creators, you'll never see me mention those. Challenge for you, look at any of my videos and find me an instance where I've called out a content creator by name, or even by action, and I'll straight up pay you $100. Yeah, I said that so confidently because I know it's something I simply don't do. And similarly, I try to stay out of community discussions because I just don't feel like being bothered with all the drama, especially in community discussions involving this game being better than that game, or vice versa. And you already know what games I'm talking about. As a fan of both this game and that game, I feel like I don't really have a stake in many of those zealous arguments. To the extent that I do mention one game in the context of the other, the objective is to identify how the inclusion or exclusion of a feature, or the company's practices, could impact the game's design, gameplay, meta, or even its future, with a juxtaposition of the other game serving as a base in which to judge nuances. An example is my loadouts video. Wuthering Waves included echo loadouts in the game. This led to a practical discussion of why they could be beneficial in Genshin as well, with brainstormed scenarios and applications to back it up. And I believe that to be key. I brought up Wuthering Waves' loadouts to bolster a case for why my other favorite game should follow suit. What I did not do was bring up Wuthering Waves' loadouts to simply pick at Genshin and poke fun at Genshin players for Genshin not yet having them. That said, sometimes comparisons are hard to make without being more direct. And right now, I'm just gonna be pretty direct. Wuthering Waves announced the most Genshin anniversary ever, and folks are losing their minds. Oh boy, so we're here again, huh? Here we are again. We're here once again. Oh geez, I don't even know where to begin with this one. As a pretty serious player of both games, and someone who has not been entirely shocked by Genshin's behavior in the last few anniversaries, I don't know if maybe I'm just not jaded by Kuro right now, or if I just never was expecting it in the first place. There's an argument for both of those. In fact, yeah, let's just go with both of those. I'm not jaded about anything, but I also wasn't expecting more, and it's just interesting to see how many people are really having a backlash right now to what they perceive to be a bad anniversary. It's even more interesting to see how many people have made that determination based on the amount of rewards that are given this anniversary. Though, when you consider it, maybe rewards are the main metric for which the anniversary should be judged. I can see where that argument does come from. I mean, let's look at the things that we're going to be getting for anniversary. We're going to be getting about 40 pools, so that's pretty good, right? What are some other things that were announced? Okay, so we're going to be getting a flying skin. Oh, and 2 character skins, which look pretty good. Although those you have to pay for them, so is that really an anniversary thing, or? And let's see. Oh yeah, we're getting the main stat selector thing, so that's cool. And they're gonna run a bunch of banners at once so that you will have a good chance of getting a character that you have always wanted. So there's that as well. Now, on top of the pools, that does sound pretty nice. I mean, those are all good things. But when you look at that list, most of those things are either paid or they are kind of qualities of life that just should be added anyway. And so is it something that you would consider anniversary or not? I mean, the main stat selector, that's cool and all, but the game kind of needs something like that anyway. And yeah, skins and all that, that's nice, but you're gonna be paying for those. People are saying they were expecting something more along the lines of a free 5-star, or, 100 pulls, or a banner with improved rates and a guarantee for whatever character you're going for. All pretty good ideas. I'm not against any of these things. As someone who loves Wuthering Waves, of course I love all of that. Oh, of course, I would be ecstatic if they gave me 100 pulls. I mean, I'm not against that. It's just, I'm taken aback a little bit by how many people are super shocked. And it's just like, oh, why? Like, dude, somewhere along the way, and this is talking about Wuthering Waves players, but players have forgotten that Kuro Games is a gacha game company. Like, the gacha, the most predatory genre ever. Oh, you have to excuse me for laughing. I'm sorry. It's just, why are people so shocked that the super predatory gacha game company does stingy thing? I feel like Genshin has a lot to do with all of it. Genshin has a lot with why Kuro Games feels like this could be enough. Genshin has a lot to do with why the Wuthering Waves players feel like this isn't enough. Genshin kind of set the bar by which all of this is being judged. I do have to wonder where in alternate universe 6,729,552, where Genshin Impact doesn't exist and Wuthering Waves does, and that universe's anniversary is the exact same as the one we have in this one, I have to wonder if people in that universe just don't smile and go home and be happy with their anniversary. In a vacuum, is this anniversary as bad as they say, or is it really just as bad as it is because people don't want it to be compared to Genshin? And yeah, I'm being a little bold asking that question, but the reason I ask it is because, truthfully, some of the comments I've seen about it, not all, but some, are talking about how they hate that the game looks comparable to Genshin. Now, to be clear, I'm not gonna say that's everyone. I'm not even gonna say that's most. But there are a lot of players who just want this to be better so that they can rub the anniversary in the face of Genshin players. I think for many of those players, it's a more psychological backlash. A lot of them are ex-Genshin players, and they moved on from that game to this game because they felt it was gonna be greener pastures. And that's not to say it is or isn't, everyone has their preferences. Genshin is an amazing game for some, and others can't stand it. Wuthering Waves is the best gacha game there is for some players, and others think it's just boring, so I'm not making a statement here on whether or not it's true that Wuthering Waves is greener pastures, but many players moved on from Genshin to Wuthering Waves for what they figured would be a better experience. And so, when something happens that is comparable to something that would happen in Genshin, I believe the more zealous players take it especially personal, as the idea that their new investment is truly a much greener pasture is challenged. It's not only jaded ex-Genshin players who find the rewards underwhelming though, I reiterate that. There are some normal ex-Genshin players who think it's not enough, players who could care less how it relates to Genshin's anniversaries, and don't even think about Genshin because they're enjoying their new game. Those players do exist. There are players brand new to Wuthering Waves who think it's not enough as well, those with little Genshin history at all. And there are even current Genshin players who think it's not enough, those Genshin players like me who play the game and this one. I myself find the rewards lackluster, and I'm not a jaded ex-Genshin player in the slightest. Forget jaded, I'm not an ex-Genshin player at all. So I'm not saying that only jaded ex-Genshin players find it underwhelming, but I am saying the motivations of the jaded crowd seem more fueled by rivalry and supremacy, and a false belief that Kuro Games is any more benevolent than any other hyper-predatory gaming company. Kuro Games, a gacha company. Predatory gacha, I cannot express that enough. Hoyoverse taught Kuro Games the baseline they can work with, and Kuro Games has shown that they are willing to start at that base. Not above it, not in spite of it, but at it. Players, whether jaded ex-Genshin fans, non-jaded ex-Genshin fans, current Genshin fans, new WuWa fans, players of all kinds are finding themselves somewhat surprised due to Kuro's generally more player-friendly models and their overall tendency to listen to players. They've given out a free 5-star already. They have lower cost banners, weapons are guaranteed, you can pick your standard weapon, you can get sequences from the shop. They do come across as slightly more friendly, but on the other hand, one shouldn't forget that marketing is marketing. What players view as benevolence is often really just incentives or selling points. It doesn't mean a company cares about you though, and I think that's where a lot of current confusion comes from in the minds of a lot of parasocial players. They take these acts of kindness from Kuro Games to be genuine acts of kindness, rather than seeing them for what they are, enticement tactics, the same as Genshin uses, or any other company for that matter. When Kuro Games screws up on something, says sorry, and hands players astrites, it's not because they are empathizing with your bad day. They don't want to lose you as a player. It's a self-serving investment back into their own game for player retention. When Kuro Games sets their hard pity at a lower pool count than their competitor, it's not because they are empathizing with your miserable pulling experience. They know that the idea of a lower max pity is refreshing enough to get people to try their game out instead. When Kuro Games hands out a free 5-star in the middle of a year, it's 100% for self-servicing promotional interests. Every act of goodwill towards the players is actually an enticement to appease potential players. They care about keeping players' interests. They do not care about the player. What they are doing is using this opportunity to learn what their players will and will not accept. That's all it is. Right now, it's looking like players are not accepting. Players of all backgrounds, and even in CN, are unhappy. But let's be clear, it's not like Kuro Games was oblivious to this potential outcome. If you think they paid zero attention to every Genshin anniversary so far, you're just naive at that point. Of course they have, and that's why to see Kuro's decision to consider these rewards adequate as anything other than conscious and intentional is naivete. But I'd wager there's potentially even deeper layers to it. Almost conspiratorial, but it could be possible that this is so expected that it was the idea all along. Not saying that for certain, but whether the rewards were intentionally lowballed or predetermined to be negotiable, it's possible they intended all along for these rewards to simply be a starting point. After all, part of their marketing reputation is being the gacha company that actually listens, yay! And so, if there is backlash and Kuro honors the community demands, it could strengthen this image even further. Is it not possible that players could wind up agreeing to better rewards, which Kuro Games would have been fine with giving out all along? Is it not possible that player expectation can be manipulated in order to serve positive PR for a company? Kuro saw that we were unhappy, and then they came back within days and said they hear us and will be giving us 100 pulls and guaranteed banners, yay! See, Kuro's the best, they actually listen. I don't know, it is pretty eye-opening that not even half a day after the 2.3 livestream, Kuro opened an anniversary suggestion section in the Wuthering Waves Discord with an apology to the players saying they've heard the feedback and are welcome to constructive comments. Very fast response, almost as if, the rewards could have been negotiable to begin. And wouldn't you know it, creator after creator and poster after poster are already positively covering Kuro's lightning-fast community response and their willingness to listen. They listened, they're listening, yay! When so far the only thing they've done is open up dialogue, but you see how that works, right? I'm not saying they're writing their own positive PR glorious comeback anniversary story before anniversary even happens so they can look like a super generous and thoughtful community loving company, but they could be writing their own positive PR glorious comeback anniversary story before anniversary even happens so they can look like a super generous and thoughtful community loving company. And if that's the goal, it's already working. They haven't even announced any new rewards or concessions, and headlines everywhere are reading, "Anniversary saved." They're listening. Here's the thing though, you basically have to assume one of three things. Either 1, it's the preemptive PR stunt I just outlined. 2, they came to the table thinking this might not be enough but were willing to test the waters. Or 3, they really came to the table thinking this was enough. No matter what, it's not good. Their preemptive stunt is self-explanatory, but even if they genuinely came to the table with these offerings, that's not good. If they were just testing the waters, that means they were willing to give players less than they deserved if players accepted it as is. On the other hand, if they really came to the table thinking it was enough, then that means they're out of touch. There's no good way to spin it. Either they're PR stunting, lowballing players with the hopes players will be satisfied, or out of touch. That's it. That's all you can take from it. And none of it's good. But in the event Kuro Games does cave, whether it's a preemptive cave they plan to do all along for PR, or raising the bar after lowballing, or correcting course due to being out of touch, whichever case, in the event Kuro Games does cave, the community at large will likely celebrate it as a W. Assuming there are additional rewards giving, but considering how quickly they opened up suggestions, I'm willing to say something or another will change. I myself will also take the rewards as a W because, like I said, I love this game, so I'll take anything I can get my hands on. Don't get me wrong, you know? But I won't delude myself into believing it's all benevolence. It can get excitement from me. Don't get me wrong there either. But I'll be reserved with the praise. Those are different. More rewards will be super exciting, but I'm not going to lose the plot here and misinterpret it as altruism and kindness. It's important to differentiate. In those scenarios I outlined, all possible reasons for this occurring are self-serving from Kuro's end. Unless they truly were so out of touch they thought it was enough, in which case it would be ignorance, but that's it. Self-serving at best and ignorance at worst. But nothing that requires anything more from me as a player than my gentle appreciation and time. And honestly, not even that if I don't feel like it. After all, even the reward pools aren't freely given. You are expected to log on for them. If they were truly that benevolent, why not just send all the rewards and pools directly to my account unconditionally? Yeah, but that ain't never gonna happen though, and you know that's never gonna happen as well. Not in Genshin Impact, not in Wuthering Waves, not in your dreams. These are gacha companies. They're gonna do gacha company things. And I only have one thing to say to those who misinterpret these corrective actions as anything other than self-servicing. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha.